Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Yeah. Thanksgiving weekend. By the time I post it's going to be past it. Thanksgiving weekend, had Friday off. Figured I'd go out and explore. Wanted to hit up a new brewery. Wild Fern. A Wild Fern. They are in Frenchtown, New Jersey. Not super far from stuff. It's weird. I'm getting like a kind of, they're like 20 miles away from me, but they're like 50 minutes away from me. They're like, there's all these breweries kind of popping up in these really cool spots in New Jersey, and it kind of, I don't know, it's getting me all hot and bothered. So if you've watched previous reviews of mine, you know I've gone to Conclave. They're probably about 20 minutes away from there. Oddbird, and they're actually right down the street from them, probably like 15 minutes away from there. And then I decided to hit them up, and I'm glad I did. So I brought a crowler home, figured to talk about it, and we'll see where we get. Crowler-wise, that's kind of like their main kind of logo-y thing. That kind of works for me. And beer-wise, you're talking about what is it? 5.2% hazy pale ale. Everything there was relatively low ABV. They had a lot of stuff on offer. But, I mean, that's exactly what you want, kind of like low ABV haze to kind of look. Just over index finger, crowler poured head on this. Relatively large. And just this nice, soft haziness that doesn't look super dense or turbid. It has this density that you want from these new school kind of hazy pales. But it definitely doesn't have that kind of goopy chalkiness that you tend to get from some people who are just kind of leaning into haze for the sake of leaning into haze. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get a nose on this sucker. I mean, 5.2. You're just getting bright citrus and a little bit of green here. There's nothing super heavy-handed here. Again, low ABV. You're not expecting the world. The head's pretty big in this, so I think the aromatics would be a little bit bigger if I didn't pour this like a Neanderthal and it was coming out of the crowler. But yeah, it's just bright, summery citrus. That's probably the best way I could put it. I mean, it's called Meadow, so it kind of makes sense. But it has this kind of nice brightness to it. Citrus leaning, nothing too heavy-handed. There's a little fluttering green in here, but not like an overt kind of precursor to bittering, but something akin to what's going to be a little bit of balance on it. And just honestly, just comes off as a really nice, soft, hazy pale. I mean, it's not hitting you with a 2x4 to the face of hops, nor do 5.2% hazies typically do that. So yeah, smells the part aromatically. I think it could be a little bit bolder, but I think it has more to do with the head than anything else. Let's just dive in. Cheers, all. Okay. I mean this in the nicest way possible. That is like potable hazy pale ale. By that I mean it's kind of like something I just want to drink for the sake of drinking. Not something I want. I mean, from a hazy pale ale stance, it's excellent, fantastic taste. It just has this kind of inherent kind of drinkability to it. It's just something you want to like chug or rip on like, if you're tubing down the river, we'll get to that in a minute, or Longmore, all that kind of stuff. It's that summery hazy pale ale, something that's not super heavy, not something that's super dense, not something that's super just sludgy, or even, like I said, like aromatically, I thought it could be a little bit more bolder, just a little bit more to bring a little bit more to the table. But I think while that could be the case, when the actual drink the beer, I'm not saying it's subdued in the taste, but it follows through because there's a softness to it. There's some green to it. It's a really cool kind of green for me. It comes off a little bit of green grassy, nothing too heavy. There's a little bit of bittering there, but it's more of a balancing act. Something that's not even close to being overtly sweet. So it's attenuated perfectly. There's not a big residual sweetness on there, but there is that bitterness, albeit small, that's carried along with that little bit of green grassiness to kind of bounce off a bit of sweetness that it does have. It's got a beautiful, like silky, just sub-lush kind of mouthfeel to it. Again, 5.2%. A 4-day-old. Were we 4 days old? A 4-day-old crowler. It still has this really nice lush mouthfeel to it. And as far as the hop side of things go, it is citrus. It is all the citrus. I mean, you can sit here and talk me into other things. Pineapple, you can talk me into stone fruit. A lot of things, but it really is just gobs and gobs. For its ABV level of a citrus that is like a, oh man, it really comes off more like a slightly underripened kind of like, what do they call those? I get them from a kid all the time. mandarin oranges, tangerines. They have a name. Cuties. Those little things. Those for me tend to have, like, when they're a little bit under sweetened, they tend to have this little bit of pithiness, this little bit of acidity, this little bit of sweetness to it. And that's kind of where this one really comes off for me, is that it has this kind of combination of a couple different levels of what you typically get from, like, that orange, that citrus orange. A little bit of pithiness in there, a little bit of rininess in there, a little bit of sweetness in there, and that's kind of how this one represents itself at that 5.2% package. I mean, you're talking about 5.2%. You're getting it at that ABV level where I get super hot and bothered. Listen, I love me some double IPA. I love me some big, bold, rich IPA. I can even get down with a triple IPA if the mood strikes me right. But really where my loyalties lie is low ABV haze. You're going to be hard-pressed to find much better than this. I'm going to be honest with you. There's some that do me better, but it's the ones that really kind of eke down super low ABV that I find just that trade-off of an extra 1.5 is for me, your Baby Genius from Bissell of the world, so super low ABV hazies. But if you talk about that sweet spot, that 4.7, 4.8 to like 5.5, your carton boats of the world, your sneak boxes, those kind of beers, this is up there for me. And honestly, that has me super pumped because it's kind of not what they do. When I went down there, my thing was their tap list, 6 beers. I think that's their jam, 6 or 7 beers. I think that's their jam. It's not like they're trying to fill up a board full of beers and do all kinds of crazy things. I think they just want to do a couple styles and bang them out. And, I walked in, I rocked me a bitter. I had me a lager. I ended up having a black or Czech dark lager, and I want to say they had maybe a little a bigger IPA, a single hop IPA, and maybe one other beer. And a wit beer, sorry. So just to have that kind of option, all relatively low ABV too. I think maybe that other IPA was probably the biggest of the bunch, but all more in that 6 to sub 5% range, and just having that option. Not complicated. You walk into that restaurant, you walk into the diner, and you open up the tome, that menu that is so long and so complicated that when you go to breweries like that, not that I don't want the option of choice. It's a twofold thing when breweries do the crazy huge menu. Now, breweries like Avery or something like that, they're excluded from, they do so much barrel aging and they're so old and so whatever. But it's like, when you go to these really good restaurants and food places, typically it's a very kind of cultivated, truncated menu because they're focusing on doing 6 things great instead of doing 20 things decently. I kind of appreciate that. And when you can go in there and have a really killer bitter, it was really, really, or was it a mild? Again, English. I think it was a mild. That my mistake. I think I came home and had a bitter later on. But the Czech dark lager was the star of the show, and have those kind of variants when you go into a new brewery. Yeah, I think we're winning here. So back to the beer. Beautiful mouthfeel, boisterous for its ABV level, really well made. Nothing as far as negative, no big carbonic acid thing that I'm very susceptible to. Nothing as far as off flavors, whatever. It's sat in a growler for 4 days, so you have that going for it too. Pre-growling is not a big thing for me. I picked this up 2 days ago, or no, was it 1 day ago? Regardless, a day and a half ago. But it's holding up, and so they're growling processes are really, really nice. Again, I can't wait to go back. And the fact that they're so close but yet so far, it's kind of like weird for me. Because I want to go there more often. They're only like 20, 25 miles away, but it's all like back roads for me. But again, like I said, what I alluded to at the beginning of the video is just their location is kind of weird because I think a lot of people might pass them and not know it. If you were to kind of like just basically drive south from Easton, Phillipsburg, New Jersey, you kind of run into it if you're on the Jersey side of things. I know a lot of people end up driving that route, taking 611 down from Easton to like New Hope, and doing all kinds of fun stuff down there. On the Pennsylvania side, and until you get into New Hope proper, there really is nothing there. There honestly is just nothing there. You're just driving to New Hope, and it's a fun drive, kind of weird, windy roads along the Delaware, but it's much the same on the Jersey side. But on the Jersey side, you're traveling south down there, you hit Wild Fern, just south of Frenchtown. Frenchtown, like, sneaky cool little town, to be honest with you, especially during the winter months and a little snow on the ground. You're going to walk around downtown. Very, very cool. I take my son there every year. Keep going south, you hit Oddbird. You're 20 minutes away from Conclave. If you want to keep going south, you can go to Vault. A bunch of breweries down that way. It's an awesome little spot. And honestly, winter, summer, the whole thing, like, they have crazy, I can't tell you how many people I saw come in there from biking. Like, they had bike suits on. I guess there's some big biking trail there. There's, like, crazy water tubing and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a really cool area. I kind of like this area I live in now for beer. It's kind of weird. It was devoid of everything. But now you have all these breweries kind of popping up and doing really, really cool things. But in general, super fun low ABV haze. And honestly, I picked this to go just because I want to do something that might resonate a little bit more for people out there. It tends to be a more popular style. I might have brought back the Czech Dark Lager, but man, if this is what they're going to be doing, I'm going to be. And the spot's really cool too. Spending some time down there, so there you go. New brewery, hopeful future goodness. Wild Fern Brewing, Frenchtown, New Jersey. Meadow, Hazie Pale. Go check them out. And yeah, Mount Rushmore status is one of the better low ABV hazies I've had. Oh man, it's so worthy to be up there. The only reason I would keep it at Mount Rushmore status is because that's 4 things, and I think over the past year to 6 months, I might have had 4 things I might skosh put in front of this, but it's more so there's a lot of competition out there as opposed to this not being worthy, but it is worthy. So yeah, value and availability. The crowlers, I think I want to say they were $16 a piece, a little pricey, but new brewery trying to do good things. I don't mind it. Price in the tap room were quite nice, and like I said, the tap room was great. Brewery only at this point. I think they're trying to do some kind of kegging to get out there, but mostly at local spots by them, so it's not like you're going to see their stuff by you. So travel. And leave you with, if you like what we like this, if you like low ABV haze, you will love this. So there you go. Review in the books. Hopefully you enjoyed. Massive Beers, you can check me out in the social medias. Type in the old Massive Beers thing. And as far as Wild Fern, go check them out. Have you been to the brewery yet? Been open a month? If you haven't, you should go. If you have, what's your favorite beer? And if you've had this beer, what did you think of this beer? All that fun stuff down there. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of a new brewery right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers, all.